Making a flavorful cup of coffee is in the bag. Welcome back to another Techstination interview. I'm Fred Fishkin. With us from Steeped Coffee, STEEPED, is CEO Josh Wilbur. Great to see you, Josh.
Great to see you too. Thanks for having me.
Well, there are a lot of people and companies out there making all kinds of machines to help us get a perfect cup of coffee. This is, I don't know how many decades that's been going on, but a lot of technology of late. You decided to innovate in a different direction. Tell us about it.
Yeah, that has been going on for a while. People have generally thrown more and more technology and gadgets at coffee, and we decided to go a little bit, backwards in order to go forwards, which basically trying to simplify the process. And as we found out, sometimes the simplest things are the hardest to achieve. And so we've put a lot of work and dedication into testing this method and validating it and getting it out there. And essentially what we've ended up with is coffee in a bag. So it's steeped coffee. And you would make it much like the same ritual of like a tea bag or something like that, where you're putting the bag in your cup, you're pouring water over it. So it's like a pour over, you're giving it a dip and a dunk, kind of like a French press. It actually blooms in the cup and gets crema. And then you let it steep essentially until the water's cool, about 5 minutes, and you just start drinking. And it's a barista approved quality, specialty quality cup of coffee. And so that's what we've been working on and getting out there and essentially trying to make quality coffee accessible to the masses. And so people can experience what it's like to drink specialty coffee and quality coffee, but also have that single serve convenience without the mess and the cleanup and everything else. So
I guess you could say it's pour over coffee simplified.
Yeah, sort of. I guess it's kind of a hybrid between like a French press or pour over, but it's really it's become its own method. So like you have drip coffee or French press or pour over, pods or whatever. This method is becoming known as steeped coffee, the steeped coffee brewing method. That's what we've been working on and partnering up with lots of companies across the United States and internationally, as well as, providing that to our own customers as well.
Well, tell us about that. I mean, you have your own coffee, and then you are working with a pretty wide range of partners that seems to be growing. Tell me about that.
Yeah. So when we started this is a proprietary process. So we've got, we're patent pending. We've got a lot of IP behind what we've been doing, and as we've been innovating on this method. And so rather than just keeping that to ourselves, we've decided to, invite others into it and help provide the steeped brewing method to other top coffee brands and companies around the globe. And so we've started with our own brand because in the beginning there was nothing like it. So, it was kind of like a showroom. You got to come in and kick the tires and try it out. And the steeped coffee brand has light, medium, dark, French roast, and decaf. We've got some national awards with those coffees, with especially our French roast. We just recently won a Nexty Award at Expo East for best new product in coffee and tea, as well as best in show with KeHE, a big grocery distributor, not in coffee and beverage, but actually for all categories, the whole grocery channel. So that was really exciting this year. So we've got our own brand with that. But we also, our portfolio is really, our catalog is really all of these amazing licensed roasters that we're working with, top roasters from around this, all your favorites from where you might be located. And so we're now partnered with 350 roasters across the country and growing. And it essentially lets our fully compostable single serve brewing method be enjoyed by other brands with using their coffee and sending that back so people can experience whatever the coffee may be exactly the way it was intended by the roaster. And that's what our method really specializes in. It's just a high quality way to experience different coffees. So
Tell us what you can about the way that partnership works. Do they send you the coffee and you package it for using your methods, or how does that come together?
yeah, we have a whole process around what we do that keeps it, fresh off the roast for when we precision grind it, and then it goes through our timing and our processes, and we triple nitrogen seal it. So we basically remove all oxygen from the packaging, which prevents oxidation, which makes things spoil. So when you open up a bag, months later, it smells freshly roasted, fills the whole room with that fresh roasted smell, fresh ground coffee smell, and essentially allows us to stop the clock on the coffee aging process, and really get that simple for people, to bring that, coffee shop experience direct into your homes. So you can make a cup of coffee whether you're at home or traveling or in a hotel or camping or wherever it might work. So it's
Are there limitations with the shelf life?
no, I mean, typically we're at like 8 or 10 months, somewhere 6 to 10 months, based on different companies' preferences. All of our packaging and processes is super high quality, so we've kind of got all that dialed. And some of these companies we're working with, they're brands that wouldn't even put their whole beans on a grocery store shelf for longer than 2 weeks because they don't want it to tarnish their reputation as a coffee roaster. They're super fresh, high standards for quality, ethics, all these things, and yet they've qualified our method because of the freshness, the shelf life, and the quality that they're getting out of it. So
With a number of the coffee makers out there that have become popular, there is a lot of plastic or metal waste involved. You kind of alluded to this before, but tell us how you're different.
yeah, we're actually a certified B Corp as well. So we have a double bottom line, not just profits, but purpose as well. So we report on both things. One of the big things that we do as a company is we're really focused on our environmental footprint and our sustainability efforts. And so we've actually launched a bunch of new films and packaging that are fully compostable certified, commercially compostable, and become, I'd like to think of it as somewhat of a thought leader in this area. And it's something that we're really helping companies move towards with sustainable packaging and reducing their footprint. And we try to do that across the whole company with everything. So whether it's our compostable packaging, and that's the outside bag and the inner filter. So it's the entire process plus the amount of renewable materials that we incorporate and use as well is a big deal to us. But then that extends to retail cartons, like a box on the shelf and things like that as well. All of our things, when you really look into it, we try to go, above and beyond with those efforts. So 100% recyclable materials, 85% post-consumer or de-inked fiber, 0% virgin materials used for our cardboard, things like that. So we try to make sure we are reducing our footprint. And as we are creating this new single serve standard, we're not doing so by negatively impacting the planet and the waste stream and all of those factors that can come along with success as well. So ours is baked right in. Yeah.
What was the motivation here in creating steeped coffee?
I mean, at first it was out of necessity. I was going to the in-laws for Thanksgiving and didn't want to bring a suitcase of, especially coffee equipment and grinders, but I didn't want to have,
You mean their coffee
and
wasn't good enough?
no, sorry, they know it too. Now they're hooked on steep, so it's okay. But it was like, instant coffee and pods and all that kind of stuff. And I just wanted to enjoy Thanksgiving time in a different way without bringing all of the goods. And And so I just said to myself, it's got to be easier than this. Why is it so difficult these days to make a cup of coffee? And why can't it be as simple as just pouring water into a cup and letting it steep? And so, thus was born steeped coffee. And, you know, that's kind of where it started. And then I think it evolved with a real deep passion into the specialty coffee space. And specialty coffee really includes a couple key principles of not just quality and craft roasting and the whole third wave thing that you've heard, but also it's deeply rooted in ethics, on relationships with farmers and looking at where coffee is sourced from and how, and all these kind of things. So growing, being exposed to that here in Santa Cruz, California, there's a big culture around specialty coffee. And so, that was something I was exposed to early on, and I wanted to find a way to help make quality coffee more accessible for those people to learn about that and also experience it, and to be able to have a convenient solution as well, versus just some of these larger commercial operations with pods and things like that. So and then I also wanted to create a solution where people had an alternative to single serve pods, and that they didn't feel like they needed to sacrifice the environment or quality or anything for convenience. So,
but that's only as good as your customer is too, and what they do with the packaging, et cetera, right? So a reminder to them.
Yeah, no, to an extent, we do use renewable resources for the foundation of all of our packaging materials. So regardless of where things end up, there's a place that where they come from that's a little bit more of a full circle, and it has a better breakdown period than, say, plastics, which takes ages to decompose, break up and all that kind of stuff. So, which also creates microplastics and stuff like this. So we also have an end of life solution though, where it can be commercially composted, and that's really the goal. It's kind of the gold standard and where sustainability is moving towards. So
that's very, very interesting. And you mentioned the partnerships that you have, and you're open to working with pretty much any roaster out there that might be interested.
Yeah, there's all people reaching out to us all the time. The invitation's open to connect, and if someone's got a favorite roaster out there, make sure to mention it to them so they can experience their favorite coffee in this brewing method as well. And we also help connect up some of our roaster partners and our brand with, we have a lot of premium hotels that we're in, grocery stores and supermarkets. Office coffee is another big vertical that we're providing solutions for. And, so if anyone has offices or anything like that out there and they want a sustainable, guilt-free, high-quality coffee solution that's very convenient, contactless, and all of these things that kind of work with, the day and age, then steep coffee is something definitely to explore. So we'd love to hear from people.
Really interesting. How does it work out, the economics of this for consumers? What is it going to cost them typically per cup?
Yeah, typically speaking, it's between $1 or $2, depending on volumes and how much you buy or subscriptions and things like that. We really wanted to get it to an affordable price point. Sometimes within the specialty coffee market, you go in and you're buying a cup of coffee for $4 or $5, sometimes $6. So we wanted to be able to offer, an experience with that same coffee where you're able to brew it yourself, but to do so on a more affordable, consistent basis. So really supplementing when you're not at the coffee shop or when you're home or where you're out and about and you really want a great cup of coffee as well. So
has the pandemic that we've all been going through had a big impact on your business? People aren't spending as much time, at least in many places, in the office.
Yeah, different verticals have been affected for sure. And our roaster partners, we've really wanted to make sure we step up and be a good partner in all ways. Yeah, there's been an effect. Grocery has definitely been something that has grown with some of our awards and different things as we've been getting recognized. There's also Whole Foods is now private labeling, or for instance, the Whole Foods premium brand has a product that's in this brewing method, which is really exciting to see, just kind of, helping make people aware of how great and how easy this is. But yeah, overall, it's been a wild couple years for us, our partners, just like it has been for everybody else. You know, people are continuing to hear about what we're doing and also sharing it. We get reports back all the time that people buy a box and end up sharing half of it because they're so excited to share it with all their friends and family once they've had a chance to try it. So there's a real kind of experience that people have with just having a cup of coffee with somebody, and there's definitely no lack of that here. People are excited to share the things that they've heard about, and this is definitely one of those newer things that I think people are getting behind, and so we're excited to hear that.
Is it something where people have to pay attention to the temperature of the water and create a little science out of this, or what are the recommendations here?
Yeah, no, there's definitely pro tips. But at the end of the day, it's going to be water and a steeped coffee bag in your cup, and it's going to produce a great cup of coffee. But I think we're on version 9 of our instructions. It's like little tweaks that just keep making things better. And so as long as you put the bag in first, this is the way we recommend it. Every method has its own, instructions. So, as long as you put the bag in first, pour water over it, you're kind of getting that pour over experience. And then you dip and dunk for 15 to 30 seconds, turns into a little bit of a ritual. It's kind of fun. Everyone does it differently, but it starts blooming in your cup, in the bag, and you start seeing crema. It's pretty cool to see. And then you just let it steep. And it doesn't get bitter like tea. It just keeps getting better until it plateaus. So you can actually just leave it in your cup. We have a saying around here, it's like, let it ride. Some people take it out after 5 minutes, 7 minutes. Everyone's got their different preferences. I leave mine in because I like to experience how the natural flavor of the coffee changes over time, all the different tasting notes. It's very similar to cupping, which is what a lot of coffee professionals do. It's like a wine sommelier. They kind of do their whole, slurpy thing. And there's Q graders for coffee, and they have a whole thing called cupping. And this has been kind of associated with as close as you can get to convenient single serve cupping, the way coffee's intended to taste and be experienced. And we actually partnered with SCA, Specialty Coffee Association, last year, one of the biggest coffee associations in the world, really well known. And they have a thing called the Sensory Summit. And it's where all the coffee professionals are tasting. They're having coffee experiences. They're typically getting together and cupping, and it's a lot of fun. But this last year, because of COVID, and they decided to do it remote at people's homes. And so they actually reached out to us to be the brewing method, which would take these amazing coffees from around the United States for professionals to experience and put it into bags for people so they could actually experience the way coffee was intended, but at home conveniently. So that was really fun for us. It went really well. It was really, really well received across the industry. And, I think it's just a kind of a fun indication of how the culmination of all the work we've put in to make it, pay attention to every detail, obsessed with every detail to make this as good as it possibly can be. So people can have a perfect cup of coffee wherever life takes them. And that's what we've been working on as a team. And we're really excited for more and more people to hear about it and learn about how easy it is to steep, to have their steeped coffee. and we hope you check it out. So
Take it with you to the in-laws too. So,
for sure.
where do you want to go in the future here, in the next year? Where do you want to take this?
Yeah, we're just continuing to grow quite rapidly, actually. We really want to focus on the basics, helping our partners be really successful, continuing to get the word out about what we're doing and why, the meaning behind sustainable packaging, and how, that you don't have to. One of our internal sayings is business without compromise, or coffee without compromise. And we want to share with people that you don't have to, have negative impact to have positive change. And so there's some things that we're just trying to get out there, along with a great cup of coffee. And we're continuing to grow into grocery stores and be more accessible for people around the States and beyond. And I think it's just staying true to our mission and keeping getting the word out there. And we really need every single person who hears about us and experiences it and loves it, just to be part of that. And we're excited about what we can kind of all do together through that effort.
So the website is steepedcoffee.com, STEPED coffee.com. Congratulations on the innovation, and thanks for taking the time with us, Josh.
Yeah, of course. And check out the site. We did some updates recently, but it's Steep, two E's, STEEPED. And check us out, follow along, and really appreciate being able to spend some time with you this morning. And look forward to having you try some Steep coffee.